if you haven't seen the lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco, there she is. She's giving you a wave.
Hi, everybody.
She does like waving back, so we'll wave back for her. And yeah, I'm excited about tonight's show. President
Yeah.
Zaddy, how are you? Welcome to our chat room for the first time. And wrenches, if anything happens, you know what to do. Make sure you immediately remove and then report. Remove and report. Silent Edge and Mark Eddy, how you doing, guys? Good to have you here. Chris Mo, always a pleasure to have you here from Austria. And Rachmaninoff, thanks for coming on in. Paul Holland, appreciate you. Nice comment here from M. Geraldine, abduct me. I am here. I'm here.
I love it.
You have fans.
Hello, M. Thank you for being here.
Sinister Vax, good to see you. And we're about 10 seconds away. A great way to support this show if you're new here. Hit that subscribe button. Ring that bell. Also, thank you to Brian for the super chat right off the bat. And it's a great way to support what we do here on a nightly basis. We really do appreciate the love. Here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. You know what? I look forward to this every single month as we kick off the new month, looking into our Zen and our Chi with a little ET contact mixed in for good measure. Why? Well, it's time for the lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California, to join us for The Spiritual You. Geraldine is a healer and a practitioner of healthy and peaceful living. She is also an ET contactee who helps counsel those who may not understand their own experiences. And that's what we're getting into tonight. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. If you want to check her on out, I highly suggest you do. Geraldine, it's always a pleasure to have you here. How's it going, my friend?
Dave, I'm fantastic. Thank you so much for having me again. What a pleasure it is to be here.
Oh, we love it when you're here. We do. We love it. I don't know why, but we just love it. And, it's one of those things where, when you have good people like you sending a very good message to the audience, that's what I think makes it all the more special, to be absolutely blunt.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Happy to be here.
Yes. What's new? You look tired. Are you tired?
I am tired. I actually am very tired. It's been a crazy week and just so much work this week. And I actually have a family member's wedding, a very big event of the century. So we are very excited preparing for that. So, yeah.
Excellent. I have been battling major anxiety since Saturday.
Yeah,
And, and,
energies have been heavy.
and I have no idea why. Like even tonight, I'm just like my chest is just pounding. Sunday I
Mm.
was like shaking like this. It was unbelievable. And I don't know why. Don't know what's causing it. It sucks though. I can honestly
Well,
say I'm not a fan of it.
yeah, you know what? I mean, Schumann resonance right now is off the rocket. I'll tell you that. Energetically, we are just really feeling it big time right now. And we're going through major transitions in the next couple of weeks right now. So a lot of people are either feeling their emotions magnified or extreme exhaustion. And It means all old habits have to end so that we can go into the next couple weeks with a little more clarity, hopefully. So hang in there. It's almost over.
Oh, I can't wait. Like, I'm almost at the point, to be blunt, where if this continues, I actually may go get checked out. Because, like, I
Yeah.
don't all of a sudden want to be, like, on the radio or something or hanging out with my boy playing guitar and all of a sudden get a jammer right there. You know, that would kind of suck. I'll be honest with you. That wouldn't feel good.
That's true, but you've been so healthy recently. I mean, you've been making such amazing changes. So I really think it has to do with the energy, you know? The energies have been, I mean, and you're not the only one, Dave. Every single client that I've worked with in the past couple of weeks are dealing with high, intense emotions. So
It's just weird. It's
deep
weird
breaths,
because
deep
I
breaths.
have been. I've actually even gone into meditating. Yes,
Wow. I'm
yes,
so amazed.
yes. I've actually been meditating, trying to control my breathing, and
Good.
you know it works for a little bit, but you know what's doing it for me though is it seems like every time I get myself calmed down, there's something or someone just like poking, poking,
Hmm.
poking, poking, and it's like
Yeah.
you got to be kidding me! Like just leave me alone, leave me
Right.
alone.
Right. But see, that is actually the power of meditation. Take meditation into your day, not just when you're sitting down, so that you can just observe, watch what people do without getting affected emotionally in a state of neutrality. And it doesn't matter what buttons they're pushing, you will not get triggered. That's the key, Dave. And this is the only time that you'll be able to really, really practice that right now to this extent. As you can see, your health is on the line. So it might be a good time to practice that.
Well, it's either that or I'm preparing for one major heart attack, and I'm telling you, I don't think that's going to happen. It doesn't feel like it's going to happen, but I'll tell you, it's really got me thinking. It really has me thinking. So I have been pushing on the entire aspect of meditation, and right before the show, I was talking to Nicole Sakic, and she is speaking this weekend, next week in Laughlin at the UFO MegaCon there, and she's nervous as anything. She's got
Mm.
anxiety, and we were kind of like, well, what the hell's going on? And I was talking to another couple people in the field who are experiencing the same thing right now. So, maybe there is something to it. Maybe it's the aliens sending us some messages. I don't know.
Maybe it's the alien in you that's, hyped up by these universal movements.
I don't know. I don't know. Every time we have you on, there's always new listeners who are tuning in for the first time. And you were somebody, as we kind of break down your story once again, somebody who in 2013 made a major career move where you decided that life wasn't about the mighty dollar. It wasn't about, fancy parties and hanging out with elites. It was about getting to know yourself and helping people. Tell us about why you changed directions.
Yeah. Actually, it started a lot. It started early. My journey started in 2008, actually, when I first began meditation. But I also funded an event planning company at the same time. In 2013, my entire paradigm changed when I had the contact experience, and I was literally taken from my room into craft and shown the matrix. I was shown my hybrid children, and that's when everything started to change for me. Why did I make that change? Because I realized that through my spiritual journey, I was able to access parts of myself that were multidimensional. And what that meant was that there was more to this reality than what I believed that there was all my life. So that began to kind of dissolve. And what emerged was a new understanding of myself, the role that I play in this planet, and the mission, a mission that goes beyond myself. It's in regards to speaking truth. It's about the feminine coming into action, about being in states of vulnerability. So when these opportunities presented themselves, this is when I began to understand the importance of sharing these contact experiences. And from there, going into research about many things, consciousness, our historical records that, all your life you think that they're going in one direction, they're taught in a certain way. And when you begin to have these kinds of experiences, all of reality begins to fall apart. physics, science, math, your understanding of family, of religion, of culture, everything begins to fall apart. And so you have to readjust and change. And through those readjustments came major decisions to let go of that part of me that was a false self, and a new identity kind of emerged. So this is kind of what came into play, and what the purpose now is to discuss hybridization and to discuss the importance of mankind and the role that they play in this major puzzle piece that we are.
I got to ask you, and this is a question that I have never asked you, okay? Who were you beforehand comparatively to who you are now that we all know and love? What did you love about yourself back then, and what has changed that you look at yourself back then and you're like, I can't believe I was like that? Because to me, you're very pure, you're very honorable, you're a very loyal friend. You are you give a lot of great wisdom, sage advice. You know, I could go on with all the adjectives, but that's who we know you now. None of us know you back from the corporate world where you were very highly successful. And that usually takes, an ass kicker type attitude and, a no BS style. It's all about business, and business is number one. And, so tell us about that. How did you change?
The transformation was pretty powerful in that, although, you see, when I first started my business, I was already in meditation. I had already began learning under a shaman in order to understand how to meditate. And if it wasn't for that meditation, I think that I definitely would have been a really bad version of myself, because I was an event planner. Mind you, I have to be juggling and multitasking, and the pressure, the stress is major, major, major. So every single turn of the way, in order to start my business, funded by myself, never funded or financially dependent on anyone else, was really, really difficult. And as a woman in the business field as well, by herself, single woman, for those 12 years was incredibly difficult. I mean, there were days that I didn't even sleep. I slept like 1 hour a day. And this repetitive pattern kept going. And so it became kind of self-destructive, because it was just constant survival mode at every turn of the way. And the focus was to become successful, or really, to pay my own bills and to cover this idea of creating something beautiful. But the interesting thing is that as I began to meditate and go into deeper inquiry about the work I was doing, the question was, why am I doing this? And I went through phases of that over several years. But what I discovered was that ultimately my need for creation, my need for making things beautiful, was actually the ego side of me that wanted to create something, that wanted to be loved, accepted, appreciated for that incredible creation. And I was very good at what I was doing. But at the same time, it really makes you look at all of these parts of us and the intentions of why we choose to do things. And it was very sobering to see that. And when I realized that, I recognized that a lot of parts of me were that false face. There were many parts that were a false mask that wanted to present itself as something, wanted to appeal to people, all for one reason, which was to receive love, affection, understanding, acceptance. Those were the primary things. And so I think when I finally made that decision, it was easier for me to let go of the business in 2017, actually, because I was still working up until 2017 with my company. And even when I made that transition, a lot of things started to make sense. I started to see the cause and effect that was affecting not only myself, but my family, people that I was working with, and everyone in my surroundings was an exact mirror of that same belief system. My employees, the people I worked with, my brides, my birthday people, all of my clients were reflecting that. And that was actually the moment that really woke me up and made me realize how we create and manifest, these relationships. Nothing is just because. We don't just run into people randomly. Everything is an energy that is in resonance with what you are and what you're doing. So the same thing applies now, but it's different. It's a little bit different how it is. So how it's changed is that the focus and the intention is completely always have to check in with myself. Am I really in alignment with what I'm doing right now? And if I'm not, it doesn't matter if there are millions of dollars waiting on the other side. It doesn't matter if there's whatever there is. I have no problem walking away from it. And that's kind of, I think, the biggest transformation is this idea that you're not connected to any idea. You don't have any expectation. You're just ready to continue moving in what's the best for yourself and all involved. So I think that was the biggest change that had occurred from the corporate to this world that we're in now.
Do you like yourself a lot better now?
Oh, of course. I mean, you can't do what I do without fully knowing yourself, your flaws, all the things that you don't accept about yourself. That's part of waking up. You can't speak on healing, speak on this stuff without having that core understanding. So that's definitely something that has to be congruent at all times.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so as we are moving forward here, one of the things as you opened up about over your time was ET contact.
Yeah.
That was something that was very, very hard for you and something that was very, very difficult for you to admit that was happening in your own little world. How did you come about, finding out that you were an ET contactee?
Well, first of all, of course, the very conscious physical contact experience that I had in 2013. But I have to say, even then at that moment, at 6 in the morning when I was dropped back, hanging off the side of my bed here, um, with pain all over my body, I mean, burning all over the face, all these symptoms, right? I still had a difficult time processing what happened to me. And in that moment, I wanted to call the cops. I wanted to call the hospital. I wanted to call someone to help me understand what just happened to me because I didn't for a moment. Of course, I know I'm completely sane. So it's not like I would go from one day of complete normalcy to all of a sudden this crazy experience happening to me. And what really sealed the deal was Monday when I went into my class to teach my meditation, and I can see this person's multidimensional body, cords, all these things. I that to me was the proof. I think if my psychic abilities weren't activated in that experience, I may have processed it as something not as important as it was at that time. Because, we go into self-doubt, and this happens to a lot of contactees, after they have this contact experience, it's so incredible that they are emotionally incapable of understanding that because of our deep programming, that we're not aware of multidimensionality, that this actually happened to you. So this takes time. And it took me, I mean, I told 3 people in my life, and those 3 people were supportive. And it wasn't until 2017 that I spoke with a friend, at MUFON, Lorian Fenton here in the Bay Area, that I finally realized what had happened to me. And the suggestion to do the hypnotherapy and all that stuff came up. And that's when I started to go deeper into those things. But I had already been noticing that throughout my life was different. Things had happened to me that were anomalous, that shouldn't normally happen to any person. At least I thought that. Lights, dreams, experiences, anomalous pregnancies, all these things. And when you begin as an experiencer to research all these things, you finally realize that you're not the only one. These are patterns. They are specific ways of experiencing contact that millions of people are potentially experiencing.
As you went down and you started opening up with a good friend of this show in Lorian Fenton, were you scared? Were you a little bit shy in going through these very personal type of questions and experiences? Like, what was that emotion like right at the
Yeah,
beginning?
absolutely. I mean, first of all, I remember that when Lorian actually hosted her conference at my hotel, I was working as director of events at a hotel in South San Francisco, and that's actually where she held her UFO conference. And I told her that I had some of these experiences, but I didn't go into depth. I didn't do any of that yet. I was not prepared. I was actually afraid to do so. And I think after that conference, I believe it was, I saw Jason Quid speak, and unfortunately I couldn't catch everyone, but there were some other panel discussions that were being had there, and they were actually talking about ETs in a very serious manner. To me, that was so powerful, because finally I realized that people were talking about this topic with respect. They were giving it a space. They were educated, and they were doing research on it, and that to me was so helpful. And it wasn't until after that that I finally decided to share with Lorian. And I was very shy. I mean, I called her and I said, Lorian, I just want to tell you about this story that happened to me, and maybe you can help me, because the contact was continuing to happen during that time, and I was actually going through some major, disconnects. I wasn't sure how to deal with it. And so she invited me to the group and to connect with others. And it was through her that I met Misha Johnston and the support group. And that was the lifesaver for me, because then I really began to understand that many other people were experiencing same things, So, so I mean, during that initial conversation, I mean, it was very nerve-wracking, and it was interesting coming to that state of vulnerability, because I really had to go into things that even myself at that moment, I wasn't even sure about, because I had been downloading information in my hypnotherapy about Anunnakis, the Nephilim, all of these incredible things, 3 main bloodlines, all these things that I never read a book about or knew anything about. Of course, Lorian is so well versed in all these areas. She was able to recognize the information very clearly. And that's when I started to go into research at that point. So yeah, it was pretty powerful.
And we were your first nighttime radio show.
Yes. Yes, you were.
I remember when Lorian was telling me, she's like, you cannot tell anybody. You know how her famous, you cannot tell anybody. And she goes, I have been working with this absolutely beautiful young lady, Dave, where you have to have her on the show. Her name is Geraldine Orozco, and she is a major contactee, and her story will blow you away. And I remember that first time you were coming on, you were quite nervous, and you didn't know what to expect. Yes. And I was like, don't worry, I got this. You just sit back, relax, and talk to me. And that's where it kind of started. But you mentioned having support with Misha Johnson and other people to be around. The majority of experiencers, and I'm sure you would agree with this, Geraldine, they don't have that support group. We got about 90 seconds to go before we go to break here. How does one find a support group? Because there's a lot of people who may be listening to this who haven't checked it out on the internet. They don't know how big this subject is out there. They just know what happened to them, and they may be a little sheepish on talking about it publicly.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you can come to my support group. It's once a month. It's called hybridmother.com. You can visit the website and sign up. It's free, international, over Zoom, and private. Other than that, I also have a list on my website of different contactee groups. And also I am a part of Opus, which you can check out at opusnetwork.com. They help direct and provide support for all contactees that are looking for either, medical support, research on information, and connecting people in different parts of the world with incredible hypnotherapists that will assist. So those are 2 really major resources, and we can talk a little bit more about that when we come back as well, so that we can, talk a little bit more about that. Because one of the important things is the verbiage that you're using to search, and that was the hardest thing for me. So if you know what to look for, you'll find some information.
Well, we like it. We like it, and I'm very excited to continue on our great talk tonight on Spaced Out Radio with Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. We bring in Geraldine near the beginning of each month, where she comes in and she talks everything from healing your body, mind, and soul to ETs and abduction and hybrid children. She literally is so multifaceted. She has one of the best reputations in this business, and you'll find her very honest when she speaks. We love her around here. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website. You can check it on out. We'll be back with the next half hour of Spaced Out Radio and Geraldine right after this. All right, we're clear.
Okay, great.
Girl, you do look tired. I never see you looking tired. You look so tired right now.
Oh no, I know. I am so tired, Dave. It's been I've so many things that I'm juggling right now that it's insane. So just trying to get what needs to be done.
I know.
Maintaining balance.
I
How
hear
are
you.
you?
Well, besides the anxiety attack that I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack,
Oh, sweetie, I'm sorry.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
You know what I figured I needed? I am going to go out in nature this week,
Yes.
this weekend,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go hug some trees.
That's exactly what you need.
Yeah, I'm going to
I
go
mean,
be one with nature.
You're surrounded by nature, aren't you, in your home? I mean, you have a lot of trees around you, don't
I
you?
got trees in my front yard. Yeah, I've showed you those.
Yes,
My
I
tall,
believe you have.
beautiful trees. Oh, I
Yeah.
love them.
Well, why can't you just go out and hug those trees? Just connect with it for a moment.
You know what? I will say this. I have no problem doing that. But literally, when you are out in the forest and it's just you and the forest and you can just push that energy out and just say, "Hey, I'm here." You know, let's just make this a special night and
Yes,
or
yes.
day or whatever. You know, that's where it gets very cool.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. Oh,
See,
interesting.
one day I'm going to kidnap you and bring you up here and actually take you into the forest. And don't
Oh,
worry,
I'd love
don't worry. I will have literally about 6 jackets for you. You know,
Yeah, okay.
I mean, it was only 89 degrees here today.
Oh, that's
No,
perfect.
not
With
89.
that, I'm good.
Not 89. It was about 84, 85 today.
Oh, that was the same here. It
Yeah.
was really hot.
But
That I can do.
okay. Yeah, but how are you with mosquitoes?
Oh gosh. You know what? I'm okay with the mosquitoes on the top hemisphere, but if it's anywhere the mosquitoes in the southern hemisphere, I don't want to deal with them. Usually I don't get bit though,
Oh,
for some reason. But you know that they have genetically modified mosquitoes now, right?
yes.
Yeah, so those worry me. I don't know about those.
Yes.
I think those are
don't like those.
nanotechnologies. Yeah.
Uncle Dale says, Dave wants to go in the forest so he can do manly things with his chainsaw. My chainsaw is being a bitch right now, to be honest. Not running very well. Doesn't want to run right now. So my chainsaw and I are having a little bit of a disagreement. Same as my weed whacker and I. Yeah, that thing's just got an attitude. Mm-hmm.
And somebody that had a question, I'll remember the question and we'll answer it next time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean when we go live.
All right, we've got a couple minutes left.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm glad you're going to go out in nature this weekend. That's so nice. Is there a special place you like to go out there?
You know what? It just doesn't matter. Doesn't
Good.
matter.
Yeah.
It's when you come across a couple weeks ago, I went for a drive in the forest. Like it was evening and you know, like 10, 15 minutes into the drive, there was wild horses right in front of us.
Oh wow!
And then like 10 minutes after that, there was another pack of wild horses. And then an hour after that, that's when we got into the bears. And it was awesome.
How beautiful.
That's what totally de-stresses me.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Amazing. How beautiful.
Yeah. You know, but when you go out there and you see some of these trees and they're like 100 feet tall and like you can't even get your arms around them. It's so beautiful. It really is.
Well, it cleanses the body. You know, Dave, have you ever tried Qigong?
No.
I really wish you could try it Can I send you a video?
Sure, you can send me anything.
I'm going to send you a video. I really wish you could try it because I go out just right here in the creek to go do Qigong in the mornings. And I'm telling you, if it wasn't for that, I think I'd be spaghetti every night halfway through the day because I have to do so much and work with so many clients
Right.
that it's most re-energizing thing.
1 second here. And hi, Shar Naughton. How are you? Good to see you. And we are about 15 seconds away from the second half hour. Thank you to Brian for the super chat to kick things off. It's a great way to get our night going. And thank you to all our new listeners and new subscribers as well as we push towards 13,000. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with the lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website, and we're talking aliens tonight. Why? Because, everybody's preparing for June 25th. What will be released by the United States government when it comes to UFOs? Lord knows we're not going to get anything extraterrestrial. But you know what? Geraldine likes a good alien here and there, and, maybe a little aliens on the side, a little garnish on the salad. We'll have some alien over there. Geraldine, welcome back.
Thank you so much, Dave. True words.
Aliens. Let me tell you about aliens. I don't think we're going to hear anything about aliens come the report on June 25th. But from somebody who is looking at this entire, contact angle from a different angle, the way you are and the way many other experiencers are, how do you look at it, from your own eyes? What are you seeing through this?
Through what the government's is doing right now with
Yes.
these disclosures? The way I see it is a very lovely, as always, manipulation of information that is going to be probably put out. However, a couple of things that I think are interesting about this is that right now we are coming into a major transformational change that will begin to set the foundation for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And what that means is that we need to start getting comfortable with the idea of interdimensionality. We need to start getting comfortable with the idea of this kind of new understanding of physics and science from the perspective that UFOs, or at least this kind of advanced technology, exists. So I think that's kind of the direction that they are trying, the angle that they're going at. I mean, we already, to me, it was disclosure enough that Trump spoke about the Space Force. I mean, to me, what more do you need if they're going to start to create that within the government, right? So obviously, to me, that was plain open that they are aware that there's something that they need to prepare for. What are they preparing for? That's the question, and I don't think it matters so much what we're preparing for, as long as we individually prepare our minds and our emotions in order to not be in a emotional roller coaster of the information that comes and goes from the government. A lot of these things are manipulations, and the idea is to stay in a state of neutrality and observing that whatever comes is in addition to what you know already, or maybe just a gentle confirmation. We should be doing our own research and our own understanding of these things. we have people from all around the world, from many different countries, that feel very comfortable talking about UFOs. They discuss sightings without it being something that is hidden or covert of any kind. And I think that what is happening is a monopoly of attention on new technology that's going to be distributed probably in the next couple of years that will really push us forward in how we're doing things, for both medically and within the military. So the way that's kind of what I'm preparing to see. I think that the most important thing is that we understand that the disclosure doesn't have to come from anywhere aside from our own understanding of what we're experiencing. That's really just about it.
Gabe in the chat room. Geraldine must smell like jasmine. Do you smell like jasmine?
I hope so. Thank you, Gabe. So sweet. Thank you.
Oh, you're all the boys here are smitten with you. Let me just say that. Let me just
Love
say
you
that.
guys. Thank you for being here.
Yes. Okay. So with ET contact, kind of off the table because, as you know, and we've talked about last month, how they've really separated UFOs and UAP contact from extraterrestrial contact. At what point do you see in the people you're talking to that this conversation starts to include the experiencers?
Well, I think that that's the part where we have to pay very close attention. I think that because that separation has been made very clearly in every possible way, the moment that they start saying that it's something from not of this planet or not of this science and physics as we know it, that would be the next step. That's the next question. And I think we are the ones that have to, again, fill in those blanks with our understanding. I think that the government will probably say, oh, we've been working on our own UFOs. We've been working on our own stuff. We just haven't been telling you about it. And then kind of smooth it over so your mind doesn't have to go to that next step, I think. And that potentially may happen. But we really need to understand that the experiencers, the one that have had these kinds of experiences all around the world, from the children to the adults, are the ones that are really speaking to that other side of this reality that puts into question many, many things. Our human race, evolution, history, where we are today, science, physics, the way we're looking at things, our bodies, and why our society is set up the way that it is. That's when the real hard questions start to come in, because that's where we would need to be questioning those things.
Is it still too much of a taboo topic that there might be little green men or little gray men running around? Is that the fear right now, to try and, in your opinion, control the emotions of society when it is finally announced that we are not alone?
Yeah, I think that we are afraid of that, and we are a product of our society that has made it so that we become afraid of that because of Hollywood and the entertainment industry and agendas since the 50s that have created little green men, and the idea that ETs are this off-planet terrible thing that we are not going to be prepared for with advanced technologies. There are many ways to look at contact, and statistically, the majority of people that have experiences are not negative experiences. And the ones that are negative, a lot of times are involving the government. So the more we understand and research contact, the more we're going to understand how this contact plays out. And I think that we are at a beginning moment where everyone, so even celebrities, are very much getting involved with the contact topic. Celebrities are coming out even as experiencers. They're going to be coming out more. We just need to pay attention. And even though they're not necessarily getting the limelight right now, they will. Our discernment, our ability to discern truth, depends on our understanding of reality. And the reality is not what's being shown outside. It's not what's on TV. It's not what's being shown in mainstream,
See, that's the big one. And, in talking to Lou Elizondo last week, he thinks the public is ready for the answers. I don't think we're mature enough. Look how we've handled COVID. This is the example that I give. There are very few topics on this planet that will affect every single person.
Yeah.
And, major disease like COVID does, Jesus coming from the heavens above definitely will. That'll be a trip if that happens. All right. Aliens is one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to go more grotesque, nuclear fallout, nuclear war. But there are very few subjects or events that could affect every single human. And I don't know if people are ready. And I know for the other shows, I've banged my fist on the desk ad nauseum with this, but I really am concerned about this, about how people will react. What will they do? What are they going to hog? Is it bananas this time? Is it Kool-Aid? Is it Metamucil? Viagra? I don't know. What will people, is it back to toilet paper? Who knows?
And you know what, though? I think that what has happened over the past year was a perfect preparation to train us humans to move out of a comfort zone that is not productive. The comfort zone that we're in, thinking that what is material, what is physical, what is tangible, or perceived through the five senses only is what's real, is wonderful. We experienced that with this experience of the past year. Okay, so I think it's training for us. And the thing is, how have we been able to cope emotionally with what's happened over the past year? If you went crazy and thought about your survival and nothing but your survival and not one another, revisit that. Revisit that. What is it that you need in order to stop feeling that way and support yourself in that way, and be prepared for any other unknown situation that comes into, because the ET contact, if they do come out in the open with this, I mean, you would be surprised. I mean, there have been conferences, healing meditation groups with hundreds of people that I've done, and from a room of 100 people, 50 of those people came and told me that they have had contact experience, or they believe they had contact experience. To me, that was huge. That means a lot of people are aware. They know that something's going on, either because they have experienced it or they know, So I think a lot of people know that this is happening. And if you look around the world, in other countries, this is not a topic that is really hidden. It's not a topic that's taboo or looked at as something crazy. I think in America, we have a hard time dealing with these kinds of hard truths because, unfortunately, we're in constant survival mode. So we need to pull out of that and focus on things that are important, which is our understanding of ourselves, meditation, beginning to look inside. That's the only way to connect with the true things that are occurring outside of us. So a little bit more of that focus will help us, because this is just the beginning of a major transformation over the next 5 years, that all kinds of unknown things are going to come into our space, which we're not comfortable, whether it's all kinds of deceiving things that come out from the government, or things that are perceived a certain way are not going to be what they are. So we have to be prepared for that. Be prepared to not have any expectations, and know yourself enough to discern the information that's coming out. Don't get tied to anything.
For those of us who have experienced the unknown with extraterrestrials and had some sort of contact, we know you cannot separate UFOs from aliens. It's only the people who are either on the governmental side or those who've never had an ET experience who believe that you can separate them. Would you agree with that?
Yes. I think that it's just a matter of understanding. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I mean, I think that they are in denial of what is operating that intelligence. But I will also say that, historically, everything has set up in a way for us not to connect those two. I mean, we know that even the Third Reich was doing experiments creating these saucer-like, aerial vehicles as well. I am not surprised that we have this covert technology somewhere in our government, in the United States, or in other countries as part of our, Earth programs. I do believe that it's reverse technology. I do believe that they had that information already uh, introduced from the higher ups, which I do believe are governed by other darker groups or groups of power. And I believe that it's only a matter of time before that information comes out. And I think that they're amounting to that. So again, it's going to be up to us to full circle understand how this happened, whether you're looking at historically where that information came from in order to create that technology, or you're looking at the future and how we're dealing with it moving forward and other species that could connect with us.
How should we prepare? And should we prepare? When is the right time to prepare for any type of contact? I mean, I can listen to you, I can listen to the government and what's happening in that movement, June 25th being the next big day. I could be looking at other contactees that I have talked with who have differing opinions as well. So at what point do we need to start preparing for this entire phenomena? Is it now? Is it 6 months from now? What do you think?
I don't feel that we're preparing for that phenomena. I think what you're preparing for is for yourself. We have to understand the laws of creation. What's happening outside is a reflection of what's happening inside. And ETs and all of these interdimensional things are a part of us. It's not something separate. We keep thinking that this is, even if it's an event, even if it's a major event that is created, even if it's all of these beings coming, what will help you cope with that is an understanding that you are a multidimensional being and that you are also interdimensional, you yourself, that whenever you tap into phenomena or paranormal activity, you are literally leaving the confines of the idea that you're inside, the illusion that you're in this dimension, and connecting with another dimension that operates differently. So we need to start getting comfortable with that understanding. And from that perspective, any anomaly, any strange thing that happens, you can begin to understand that you're dealing with another state changes of matter. And I think that that is the strongest foundation to help us understand what we're experiencing. Now, we also need to start taking accountability because everything begins and ends with us. We are the creators of our experience. And it's not just individually in your life. We are creating what's going to happen collectively. Me, you, the things we talk about affect what's going to happen moving forward. The things that all of us are talking about and thinking in this group that are listening to this show are collectively creating what's going to happen. And so what that means is that we need to get clear about the purpose of these conversations. The purpose of these conversations are in order to create balance within the self in any moment of uncertainty and where all of these crazy events can happen. Because the ET aspect of it is only one part of many, many movements that are going to be happening. Many things are going to fall apart in our government, financially, with institutions, major institutions around the world are going to start breaking away and breaking down over the next couple of years. And the reason for that is two things: new technology being implemented, things going more online, being more virtual, and also the human needs to begin to understand that their dependency on the technology and their understanding of themselves will also be another level of choosing either life or a codependent cycle of destruction that we're going down. So there's many aspects to this that are really important. It's not just about the ET. The ET is incredibly important from the perspective that we have to understand our role in that. And the more we learn about that, the more we can feel comfortable in all of these unknown and uncertain situations that are coming, I think.
Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You is here. We're talking ETs and what's going on with potential contact coming up and what we'll find out on June 25th. there's always so much that we can do. We can only control our own environment when we are looking through everything, Geraldine, and looking through our eyes. We can't control everyone else. When I look at this, I really do not like the idea that I don't worry about myself. For instance, let me put it this way. I don't worry about myself. I worry about the people around me. All right? You know, when I look at COVID and the toilet paper fiasco, I look at the people around me. How are they reacting? What are they doing that's going to affect what I need or what I am doing? You know, that's where I get concerned. It isn't so much about, you know, how am I going to react to ETs, because I've already had the experience. But for those who haven't, I don't know. And I don't know how I'm going to react to them. So it is really a double-edged sword. You're reacting to the aliens because there's this newfound life, but now you're having to react to the people around you because they weren't prepared. They weren't ready. They thought this was fake. They thought it was sci-fi. That's dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Well, it could be, we could think of it as dangerous, but again, we are surrounded by people that are our mirrors. They mirror us. They have belief systems and ideas that match our core beliefs, and we're in resonance energetically as well. So when we understand ourselves and when we handle the fear and anxieties that we have within us, people outside of us reflect that. People that are unaware of the ET presence will look to the people that are aware to see how they respond, learn, and mimic that. The thing is that we all are afraid, so we're all coming in these states of uncertainty and nervousness, right? So we really have to set the foundation and be an example to people that have not had this contact, that when they come, that you're fine, you're safe. Why? Because you create your reality. And so those basic fundamental understanding of how we experience things is our safety, our most powerful way to make us feel safe in these moments. Again, it goes back to basics. Move the mind away from all the what ifs and all the potential catastrophes that could potentially happen. Mankind needs to understand their emotions and how to control those emotions, how to control uncertainty. That's what we should be focusing on right now, because that is how we're going to move an entire human race into a next generation in a more positive way. Unity consciousness. They are a reflection of me. Their suffering is my suffering. So if I handle my suffering, I can better support a person that is dealing through major, crisis moment. So we have to prepare for ourselves for our emotions, of anxieties and fears as they come up.
How do we calm down? We got a minute 20.
It's ground. You got to ground. You have to connect. Be in your body. The reason why we're anxious is because we're either thinking about the past or we are fearful of what could possibly happen. None of those things are real. They haven't happened now. They're not here right now. What's here right now? You're in your body. You're sitting down. You're listening. You're breathing. You're fine. So focus on that. That's your focus. And that's your strongest point of creation right there. And I can explain more when we get back.
Well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, the people listening to this show, even if they are in our terrestrial lands and they're not really into these topics, they will be able to get that message. Problem is, the majority of the population is not talking about it. That's the scary part. That's the wonderment of everything. And that's what we have to be able to hope and pray for, that, those people. Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening now. This is it. People are talking about it. We have major celebrities that are now coming out to talk about their experiences. And even though that's not the most, impressive thing, they affect millions of people. And once one person does it, more people will come online. It's up to us, the experiencers. This is why we're having this conversation. This is why you're doing such great service to the world right now, having this platform where we can have these conversations. So this needs to keep going, and I think more than ever we're seeing it come online. Go ahead.
Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You, 1 hour down, 90 minutes to go with the lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right, I'll be right back, Geraldine. Hold on, I got you on mute. There you go.
Okay, I'll be back too.
Okay. Be right back there, YouTubers. Where's that fucking wasp? All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. I mean, hold on. Let me get rid of the comment here. Hi, Itzy Saza. How are you? Good to see you. Joshua S., what's going on? Rooted in gorgeous sacredness. Alien Probe Master lubing us up for tonight's show. Hi, Nikki. How are you? Where else are we here? I don't know where if that's a hornet or a wasp. I can't see it. I know there was a big one outside. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hey, VPXM, thank you so much for that super chat, man. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Great way to support what we do. All right. Let me get Geraldine on the phone here because she seems to have disconnected. Oh, there she is. Oh, there she is. Just
Hi.
in time. You disconnected.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that would happen
me.
if I did that.
Scared me. Hi, Snakes. How are you? All right. We're going to get going right now.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. I want to say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Talaric. Talaric is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on tonight with Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. Geraldine comes on near the beginning of each month where we talk about everything from our Zen and our Chi to, a little alien sprinkled on the side just for, giggles. Let's do it. Geraldine's website, GeraldineOrozco.com. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hi, thank you.
All right, right before the break, we were talking about preparation for any potential ET contact. You wanted to get kind of in depth with that a little bit. So I'm curious, as we start to prepare ourselves for what may ever happen, do you think that we are truly focused on this topic the way we should be?
Well, are we prepared for what are we focused on, what we need to be focused on? I mean, I think that the way that we're handling what's happening right now is already maybe having these high expectations about what the government is going to put out. And also looking at the bigger picture, just the fact that it's out touching mainstream, I think is something that's important for us. I think that it's up to us in the UFO community to take that little bit that's being put out and begin helping with information and spreading and doing our job and and expressing, what is it about this ET contact that's important? To me, it goes back to basics. To me, some of these things can often be distractions. What's important for us is understanding how to deal with the unknown, whatever it is, because this is just one of many things that have been happening. If you've been noticing the trends, anything that puts people in separation, anything that puts people into feeling divided or separate from a whole is going to be an illusion that's drilled into the mind. And I think it's part of this kind of collective psyops that's being created. We need to pay attention to that. And our discernment for how we're dealing with these things, it just starts with us and our understanding of reality. And so we have to create a foundation for that.
But what is reality?
That's the million dollar question, is what is reality? And that's where people are going to start asking many, many more questions about who we are, what we're here to do, and what happens when we have these kinds of interdimensional experiences. When we have these interdimensional experiences, we are looking at one dimension of many potential experiences that we're going in and out of at all times. Right here, right now, there are spirits in this room. There are beings, there are entities, there are all kinds of things surrounding me, things surrounding you. And so your awareness of that only becomes available when you want to be aware of it and when you're activating your intuitive abilities. It doesn't mean that that doesn't exist or it never was there. It means that your awareness of it was not coming online. So our awareness is the number one weapon to begin discerning and understanding what is real, what is not real. We have to train ourselves. In the physical body, we have the three main centers in the body, the root, the sacral, and the solar. And through those areas, we are very easily manipulated with what we're feeling, sensing, and experiencing. So if we don't understand how those work, and if we continue to allow ourselves to come out of balance at all times, anything can happen and you're going to fall apart. And what are we afraid of? Ultimately, fear is separation. Anytime that we believe the illusion that we're separate from something, from the whole, whether it's the herd, which is the entire human race, or the whole group, we have this is an illusion because we are part of it. It's a matter of fact. We are one organism. And so why all these things are happening right now is to help us see that we're one organism as a human race, but even more than that, we're one organism with what we don't see, these interdimensional beings, these extraterrestrials. We have to begin to get comfortable with the idea that separation is an illusion and that we're actually one. And that will assist in your processing any kind of strange thing, paranormal thing that's happening. And it'll help you deal with all of the ranges of emotions in the spectrum from happiness or love and fear. In between that spectrum is all the different kinds of emotions. So if you're looking at things from the place of fear, you're going to continue to create more experiences of fear. If you're looking at things from the place of love, you're going to be experiencing more things from the place of love. And you can experiment in your own life and see if that's true. And more than likely, you will be able to identify those things.
All right, let's get to Kronos's question. Is there any preference in hybrid type, human, alien, earthly, or alien, human, heavenly? Or do they simply serve different functions?
Amazing question, Kronos. Amazing question. But in order to understand this, you'd need to understand kind of historically and the different dimensional layers of our reality. When we start getting into the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th dimensional, all of these interdimensional beings, including angelic beings and including these ETs, or what we know as ETs, and all of the spectrum of races that are within that category of beings, they would descend from these higher dimensional planes. They operate from those dimensional planes, and when they come into our three-dimensional plane, when they merge with us, we are accessing them either physically, it's, well, an idea physically, it's energetically, we're sensing them through the physical body and experiencing our reality merge with them. So, preference, I'm not sure what you mean by preference exactly. But what service, what do they serve? Can be any number of things. And let me tell you why. Because when we experience connection with these beings, we are looking through our own filter. And so everybody's experience with these beings will be different depending on your belief systems, what you've known, what you've been taught about them, what you've been taught about angelic beings, what you've been taught about ETs. You will experiencing through that filter, even the way that they look to you. Now, on the other side of that, the consciousness that is operating behind whatever is being shown to you will mirror your understanding of that. It'll also mirror what you're feeling in that moment. Okay, so if you're in a place of fear, whatever they're going to do, doesn't matter what they look like, if they're angelic or ETs, they will speak to that fear, to that aspect of yourself. The unconscious aspects of yourself that require that experience will speak to that. If you are experiencing something in a high vibration, those beings, whatever they look like, will speak to that vibration. And this is why we have so many different people having different kinds of experiences. Some people say, oh my God, aliens are amazing. They're the most incredible, beautiful, healing beings in this universe. And other people say, wow, they're terrible. They're parasites. They do these terrible things. So we perceive things through our filter because, again, everything begins and ends with us. On the higher levels, the exchanges and the law of exchange that occurs with these entities and beings in their true form from those dimensional planes depends on the dimension they're coming from. The lower the dimension, the closer to the physical plane that they are, the more that exchange will be perceived under the laws of, let's say, the laws of three, the laws of exchange, of balance, of feminine and masculine, good and bad. Okay, the higher it gets, usually the exchange is different. It's not this kind of balanced exchange. Usually they never would interfere with your being. The higher the level of the being, it will not interfere because it understands the law of free will, and it understands that the exchange is not through something physical or even emotional. It's a consciousness or an information or a download or something like this. So, it depends on the level that they're coming from.
All right, let's get to another question here. This one comes from Vinny, who is asking, what are your thoughts, Geraldine, on simulation theory?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think that this theory is a very interesting way to explain what we're experiencing. One way of explaining what we're experiencing. The idea that we're in some kind of simulation and it's one let's say one potential reality that is kind of simulating its way out in our collective. And I think that that could potentially be. The only part of that that sometimes is missing is the idea that this consciousness has its own self-editing or its own self-governing self to it. And that's the part where I think that I would disagree with the simulation, thinking that even though we are fractals of infinite consciousness, we are fractals of that infinite knowing and creative life force, we do on some level have the ability to choose when we become aware of what we're going to be experiencing. And therefore, perhaps we're moving from one simulation to another simulation, which is set up in order to experience specific things. For example, in this three-dimensional plane, we're experiencing, good and bad, or polarities, or these dualistic expressions. And if we would go into another simulation in another dimensional plane, we're experiencing something different. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to another question here. This one comes from BPXM. If the end game is the same, why worry about the physical type?
I guess it depends on what end game you believe is the one. I mean, there's many potential outcomes to all of these things. If you're talking about ETs, if you can clarify, VPXM, what you mean by physical type. Are you talking about ETs? Because again, it's about exchange. It's the exchange that's happening. And again, the exchange is not happening with something external. It's happening with ourselves. The ETs are a mirror of ourselves. We are always one. So we're exchanging and experiencing something with these entities, these beings that are manifesting in our space.
Well, let's wait for an expansion on that question.
That'd be great.
And while we're waiting, Nikki is asking, how can I get the ETs to allow me to spend time with my hybrid children? Any ideas?
Interesting. Yes, absolutely. You know what? It depends what your contract is with those hybrid children. If you haven't organically been connecting with them, either telepathically or connecting in some way, maybe even in dream time. And before I continue that, I would say, are you training yourself in dream time to become more lucid? Are you doing some dream work? Are you doing some astral projection? Because where you will meet the hybrid children would be in those planes. And a lot of clients that are looking to connect with them, this is the first thing that I advise and teach them to do, is to begin to work on those planes, begin to remember your dreams, begin to train yourself to become lucid, and then beginning to navigate those planes. Why do I say that? Because that is the plane in which we navigate in order to connect with these beings. And this is where these beings are expressed. They are interdimensional beings that reside in these higher dimensional planes. In order for us to have contact with them, to be able to have contact with them, we need to be at that vibrational frequency. So if you've been introduced to your hybrid children at some point, your vibration has reached some level, some other level. You need to reach that level again. And we do so by, deprogramming suffering and pain programs in order to allow yourself to come into a higher vibration. Train yourself in lucid dreaming, train yourself in those planes. Now, let's continue. Some of these hybrid children, some of these agendas are not always meant to be reconnected with. Sometimes, and the majority of the time, speaking with hundreds of women and men that have had these experiences, after the initial presentation, a lot of times that contact is kind of severed. It's no longer available. And oftentimes why that happens is because this is a fractal of yourself. It's a part of yourself. The child is an expression of you. In reality, if you manage and govern yourself and your ability to navigate these planes, you can have access to them at any time. But if you're not continuing to develop yourself, you fall out of vibrational match with them and you won't have access to them, both because they will not permit that access and because you yourself have ended that contractual agreement with them. So I would suggest in meditation connecting with the agreements that were made with the hybrid. Take a look at that. What is the agreement? How have they served you in having that presentation, that awareness that they exist? And what do you need from this collaboration? What are you looking for? Are you looking for confirmation? Are you looking for more connection with them? Because if the intention is coming from fear, usually it will not manifest. If the intention to connect is coming from a place of love and co-creation and expansion, more than likely you will connect with them. So these are some things that I would advise to kind of take a look at.
All right, Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continuing here on Spaced Out Radio as we wait for more questions. Here comes one from Irish Lincoln. What do aliens want with our genetic material? What is the purpose of producing hybrids?
Mm-hmm. That's an amazing and complex question. There are many potential answers to that. But one thing that I will say that I have seen more prominent is the idea that through our genetic material, through our DNA, which is holographic, allows interconnectedness and communication and access to the information that is within our genetic material. Our genetic material is incredibly complex, and within our DNA is basically the entire history of the universe, right? And also our history and how we have been genetically modified, not just within this current lifetime, but simultaneously in other dimensional planes, which are an expression of this information here, and vice versa, right? This is because we are not the origin. We are just one fractal of an origin. Where that origin is, we don't know, right? So wherever all fragments of yourself that are simultaneously experiencing past lives or future lives hold within them massive amounts of information of the universe. So when you give life to a being, it holds your information as well as its own information in combination with all the other genetic information that was combined to create it. So agendas can be modified, DNAs will be changed in order to produce this kind of, beings. And from that point, they are carried out in certain agendas or to experience that. One of the reasons is that when we are fragmented, we create fragmentation through ourselves, through another living being. We are sustaining and in some way enmeshing and entangling ourselves further in the three-dimensional plane, in the physical plane. We can transcend that by unifying all fragments of ourselves in order to come back into one. This is the power that the human has. We sometimes are involved in hybridization programs because we make agreements in moments where we're unaware. And these agreements oftentimes can become uncomfortable exchanges. So the idea is that as a human, you become aware of why you agreed to give your genetic material. This is not something that is necessarily parasitic. It's a one-sided. There's no such thing as one-sided parasitism. It's always two sides. One entity has to be unconscious in order for something to feed off it or to utilize it. So there's an agreement that has been made, and those are just the basic laws of creation of the universe. So I will leave that there. There's much more that we can talk about, but I'll leave that there.
Wonderful. All right, let's continue on here with Spaced Out Radio and Geraldine Orozco as we are scouring for more questions from our audience. Nikki, to follow up her question regarding the hybrid children. Now, where did your comment go here, Nikki? She goes, I've done that already in dreams, astral and higher stealth. Still nothing. I have contact with one. She is still in the sack. I don't know what that means or not. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely. So behind me, I have a painting of these incubation tanks that are created for the zygotes or the fetuses that are continuing to develop. And so what she means is that, this is still in gestation. And sometimes that gestation can be prolonged. Okay, it can be prolonged. It can be gestating for, quite some time. And oftentimes it will develop and then they will utilize it. Whenever they're ready to utilize the fetus, it will be activated or brought into space. So interesting. My light just turned on really bright. I wonder if that's some communication there. But the question is, so here's the thing. Why haven't you had further contact? So if you no longer have contact with them, it means that we have a different agreement, my love. It means that now our work has been done with that agenda, and now it's time to experience something else. My question is, what do you need in order to have closure? What's needed? What do you need to understand with the exchange to have closure? Because ultimately, they don't really belong to us. They are us, which means that they're never separate. They're always in our space, always available to us. So if you can understand that and integrate that, the feeling of needing to connect with them will no longer exist. So just check in with that and notice, what else is needed from that exchange.
Can do. Absolutely can do. As we got about 45 seconds to go here before we get to the bottom of the hour break, Geraldine Orozco, we do have more questions coming up here from our audience. I think their questions are very important for us to answer. And the brilliancy of the questions and of the experiences they are having, it gets a lot more in depth than what we truly think.
Yes, absolutely. And this is the thing, Dave, that you're doing that is so great for humanity right now, being able to have these conversations so that our listeners can ask these questions, and this is where we all learn. We expand our mind, and this is how we prepare. You were asking about how do we prepare? This is how we prepare. We have these conversations. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Wonderful. Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You continues here on Spaced Out Radio, and we'll come back from the break with more of your questions. So if you're in one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, we can get those questions to Geraldine, her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. So make sure you check it on out. We'll be back with Spaced Out Radio right after this break. All right, we're clear.
Nice.
Very nice.
Awesome. I love you guys. You guys have such amazing conversations. Thank you for your incredible conversations.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I do. Having a lot of fun tonight.
So, did you get rid of that wasp, Dave?
I don't know where it went. It could be still in here. It could be not. I don't know. I left the studio door open, so it may have flown out. I'm just going to put that there because that's our next question. Then I'm going to be able to scroll down and see what I'm missing here. There's a big debate tonight. And I'm not.
Oh, really?
Yes. The big debate tonight is, how old is Geraldine Orozco? And I'm not asking, and I'm not saying, but they are guessing. It's as low as 26, as high as 37. That's all I will say. Because everybody here tonight is just swooning by your natural beauty.
Thank you, guys. Love you. Love you so much.
Mm-hmm. There. I asked it. I am not asking again.
We're going to leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never shy about talking about my age. But we'll just leave it there for fun. How about that?
Whatever. I don't mind. I really don't mind. Yes. Oh.
So you have been having some incredible conversations with Grant Cameron. I saw that you did a roundtable with them. You did amazing on that, Dave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't know I was hosting until about 10 minutes beforehand.
You're kidding me.
No, that's typical Grant. Yeah,
that was so great.
Nicole's like, oh, by the way, you're hosting. I'm like, okay.
Oh, my God.
All of a sudden, you just got to go, boom. There it is. It's on.
There you are. There
it is.
Yeah. It's natural.
I can do it. You know?
Very cool.
Once again, I just want to remind people, because the chat room moves so fast, if you don't mind putting your questions in capital letters, it is much easier for me to see and for me to read. So I would greatly appreciate that. I've never seen that top on you before. Is that flowers or cat prints?
Cat prints? That would be so cute. It's flowers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just from this angle, it looks like cat prints.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, today was really, really hot out here.
Yeah. Same here.
Mm-hmm.
So I can breathe out of my nose.
Oh, no problem.
Vicks. Love it.
So it looks like a lot of conferences are opening back up. Are you planning on going anywhere?
When the border opens up, it was announced today. It was announced today that Guns N' Roses will be playing in Las Vegas on August 27th.
Oh my gosh, are you going to go?
If that border opens, I am gone. I've already told my boss, the border opens, I am gone. Gone for that weekend.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
I don't care who comes. I will Paradise City the fuck out of Vegas. I really will. And I hate to use such strong language on that, but this is serious stuff here when it comes to GNR. I don't have much in my life. I got a good life. I don't have much. Okay, but Guns N' Roses is one thing I do have.
Oh, you gotta go.
Yes.
Well, make sure you get tickets ahead of time, though. I'm sure it's
I
gonna, I don't
can't
know, maybe it's
I
gonna be
can't
no?
buy tickets right now.
You
That's the
can't? They won't
problem.
let you?
Well, I
Really?
could buy them, but I don't know if I'll be able to go because I don't know when the border is going to open. So
Yeah.
I don't care if I got to pay scalpers. I really don't care. I'm going to that concert.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'm sure you will get in without a problem.
yeah, I think
Where are they
so.
playing?
I don't know. I don't
Mm,
even know yet. Does it
mm.
Does it really matter?
No.
No. You want to go? You want to come
No.
with me?
Oh man, I'm not a Guns N' Roses person,
That's all right.
so.
That's all
But I
right.
would go anyway, just for fun.
Yeah.
That's for
You
sure.
want to see
I can meet you there.
You want to see a grown Dave cry?
Yeah.
Let's go to Guns N'
Yes, I
Roses.
do.
Let's go to Guns N' Roses.
All right, sounds good.
Uh-huh.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Now Vinny and Fapster are going to be jealous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they can come too. They can come too. Where are they? Maybe they could come.
Fapster's somewhere in California. Vinny's in Colorado.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go.
Neighbors.
They could join us. They're
Yeah.
close enough. All right, 10 seconds. Big thank you to VPXM and Brian for the super chats. It's a great way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Here we go with Geraldine right now. Second half of Spaced Out Radio is underway. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for tuning us in. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Geraldine Orozco's The Spiritual You. We're right in the middle of a bunch of audience questions, which is just fantastic. Absolutely love the support when you guys are playing along with us. Geraldine, welcome back.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for your amazing questions.
DS Production is asking, do we have any information about higher dimensional beings?
Okay, so DS, can you please clarify what kind of higher dimensional beings are you talking about? I think we know a lot about higher dimensional beings, honestly. And I think it depends on your experience with them. Can you please clarify for me? Put it in the chat. What do you mean higher dimensional beings?
All right, while we're waiting, let's get over to Jay's question, which is, do you feel you are a hybrid being? Your eyes inspire my wonder.
Hey, thanks so much for your question, Jay. I absolutely do. And I think that not just myself, but I think we all are hybrids. And the reason why I think that is because just 2,000 years ago, you and I, Jay, had a relative in common. Me and Dave had a relative in common. All of us here had a relative in common. So that means that we have an origin point, and we have somehow evolved into this massive human race that we are. And yet, if we trace the bloodlines going back to the origin, there are specific bloodlines that have been preserved, and we hold fragments of those bloodlines within our DNA as well. So I think that we are all hybrids, and the origin stories that we are coming from apes doesn't quite match up when you look at our genetic code. And you understand that throughout history, very prominently kept in record is the idea that we are descendants and that we have, united with extraterrestrial beings, with these beings of the gods that have come and connected with us. So I definitely think that our history and our origin story is a little different than what we think it is. So the answer is yes.
All right. Let's get to Solar Warden, who is asking, random question, are you aware or know about Morgellons disease? Speculation is it may be off-world.
I absolutely am aware of that, and I have worked with many clients that have had these experiences, many of them. And I know that it's a very real thing. I also, in my 2017 hypnosis regression, downloaded information about Morgellons disease and how nanotechnology is inserted in many different things that not only we are ingesting, but with the things that we're using, even everything from cosmetics to products that we put into our body. And this kind of nanotechnology, which is very much like a conscious liquid form, is inserted in many different things. And I connected with something called black goo. But of course, there is a physicist that talked about this. And I'm so sorry, I can't remember his name. But he was the first person that I found that spoke most accurately about what that is. How I came across that was through an experience when I was 8 years old with draconians that were showing me how this black goo was being distributed around the world and implemented under major auditoriums, movie theaters, places where people gather in order to create a really imbalanced exchange of emotions, energies, and siphoning life force. So I think that this nanotechnology is utilized in many different forms, and Morgellons disease is one of those, is an effect of the utilization of this kind of nanotechnology that we're not really aware of yet.
Perfect. All right. Will is asking, will evil subside if we don't fear it?
The idea that evil is something separate from us is something that we need to work on, understanding that that's an illusion. Within us, and the reason why we embodied in the physical body, in the physical plane, is to experience duality. We are here to experience love as much as we're here to experience fear. Evil is a product of fear. And if you understand the origin of those main emotions, if you go through all negative emotions, you'll find that their root is fear. Fear, the idea of separation. So if we begin to change the way that we look at these emotions and how we perceive things that happen around us, to other people, to the collective, we begin to understand that everything is cause and effect. So it's not that evil or any negative thing will ever disappear, because we're in the three-dimensional plane in order to experience that. In fact, we would have to move outside of the three-dimensional plane in order to potentially experience other experiences. So while you're here in the three-dimensional plane, this is what you're here. You're here to experience contrast. So if you don't want to experience that contrast anymore, the laws of creation offer you the opportunity to reintegrate fragments of yourself in order to become whole and now experience something else. When you become whole, you're no longer a match to this three-dimensional plane. Although a part of you may continue to exist experiencing in this plane, you can experience other potential realities. We are one organism. There is no separation. We are not moving out of anything. We are all of it.
Okay, let's go over to Linda's question. Has ET been here since early time?
Yes, I believe it is. And I kind of touched on that a little bit when we were talking a minute ago about the origin of life on this planet. Our life and our human race was literally seeded by these interdimensional beings, by these extraterrestrial consciousness, this intelligence that formed together as an expression of duality in this current dimensional plane. But they have also formed their expression in other dimensional planes, which we tap into and we connect with through ourselves. The body is the vessel that accesses the entire universe. It's the vessel that accesses the all. So within us, it is within us that we experience all of these interdimensional and ET beings. And they have been here since the conception of the universe. It is just an expression of consciousness within a physical body that we perceive as an ET. We may very much be ETs for other races as well. Remember that.
That's kind of weird to think.
It is, but there are planets where I'm sure it's reptilians, and then the human comes along, and they're like, "Oh my God, what is that?
Yeah, but
What
they're
is
the
that?"
ones who have to take us to get us there, because we don't have the tech, apparently, allegedly, to get there.
Mm, right,
All right, let's
right.
let's get to Fernando's question. That's a great shortstop name, Fernando Estrada. You think he'd be like playing for my Yankees or something like that? Great name, great baseball name. What do you have
Nice.
to say about chakras and kundalini?
Mm. So the chakras are basically your reality. Okay. Our reality is what is written, what is in the chakras. The chakra is a holographic expression of an organized, it's an organized holographic expression of your DNA and the information that is within your DNA. The soul attaches to this fragment, which is the human body. Within the fragment is your DNA structure. You are connecting to lineages that are your father and mother lineage that inform that information, the DNA. The DNA is expressed in the physical body within the chakras. The chakras are the endocrine system. This holographic system is not just tied to the organs in the body. It is literally layers of the dimensional planes that surround us, that are in us, that we're constantly moving in and out of. So when we are operating from a place of feeling insecure, for example, or unworthy or helpless, the solar plexus is the one that is active in combination with the other lower chakras, for example, and also any of the seven chakras that maintain the physical experience. And so that means that we are receiving information through the multidimensional body, through those layers, because those are the layers that translate the vibrational patterns of light, sound, vibrational frequency that we are receiving from our surroundings, whether that's somebody screaming and yelling, or whether that's someone singing or giving us love. We perceive and we translate that information through the outer layer. We have a skin that is very sensitive, but our layers of the energetic body are far more sensitive, and they translate that information first. So this is how we navigate the physical plane, and this is also how we manifest. That's why I say that whatever is within the chakra system, if we haven't integrated the blockages, the traumas that are informing the human brain, the mind that manages this human vessel, is operating from the brain that is the chakra system. The chakra system is actually the holographic brain connected to all nervous system, all the different layers of the physical body. So we got to understand that, because this is how we create. Now, the Kundalini energy, which is this creative life force energy, is just one of many energies in the body that we have to learn how to cultivate. And although many people talk about Kundalini energy being the most important and when it rises in the body, it's just one of them. It's connected to your sacral root chakra. And a lot of times we connect it with the sexual energy, which is creative life force. But you will never be able to access that Kundalini energy if you don't clear out the other chakras, because the energy has an organized manner of moving through the body in cycles. It cyclically moves through the body. And so wherever we have programs that are blocked, we won't move that. When you open that, some people experience an awakening, Kundalini awakening. Again, it is just one layer of many other awakenings that we need to have. And there's a misconception that once you have a Kundalini awakening, that's it, you're awake, you're done. No, it's never ending. That's just one of the many layers. So yeah, I'll stop there.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Solar Warden is asking, are you familiar with the missing 411 work of Mr. David Paulides? If so, what's your thoughts?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with that. I
This
really
is
wish
where
I knew
people
more.
go missing in the forests, just
Oh,
vanish without a
okay.
trace.
I haven't heard that. I mean, unfortunately I haven't seen his work. I know about Missing Time, but I don't know if that has something to do with that. I haven't looked into his work,
Oh,
so
you should. I
okay.
believe he's from that NoCal area too.
Oh wow, wonderful. I will look into that.
Absolutely. I'm just checking for more questions here for you, as the chat room is smoking fast right now. Smoking fast. Okay, when we look into our own inner self, whether it's towards ET contact or in embracing who we are on a spiritual level, how does our spirit, our soul react to the change that we are noticing? Does that make sense?
So noticing like collectively or like the energies that we're feeling.
Yes,
What do you mean?
just
Hmm.
the energies that we are feeling.
So we are, so let me put it this way. Our body is so interconnected to all the planets, to all the different celestial bodies. We are very much this energetic electrical being. And that being said, we belong to a grid of energy. And there is a balance that is maintained within that grid. Even though we don't believe that there's a balance that is maintained, we believe we see chaos, we see all this duality, all these things. In reality, our organism plays an incredibly important role in sustaining that balance of this organism, which we call Earth. And we are the fragments that are a part of this earth. We are a reflection of that. On the larger scale, our galaxy, the planet Earth is a part of this immediate galaxy, of our solar system. It plays an integral part in the movements of those energies. So if you go even bigger, the universe and the multiverses, it's the same thing. It is a sphere within another sphere that is infinite, as we are part of this master organism. So when we think of things that way, you understand that everything is cause and effect. What's happening inside is a reflection outside. What's happening in the bigger is a reflection of something even bigger outside of that. So you can never get away from these movements. It's up to you how you process these changes in the universe and in your body and in your immediate environment. Within your family members, you are in resonance to the things that are happening there, and any changes that are occurring around you will affect them in the same way that they affect you. However, there are layers to that understanding, and the only way to understand how we are affected by things is by understanding the expressions of feminine and masculine energies within ourselves. The part of us that is nurturing, that is compassionate, and the part of us that is that action movement part of us. Those two aspects of ourselves have to become friends with one another within our body. When they are fighting against each other, we're always going to have resistance in the body, and that resistance is expressing itself as not wanting to receive, I don't know, a compliment or information from someone else, not wanting to move out of your safety zone, not wanting to love yourself, not wanting to love another or accept things that are changing around you. Anything that is an exception of expression of resistance is going to cause suffering in some way, micro and macro. So how we can become friends with ourselves and our environment is by being in a state of flow. This is the moment in history, the moment in the universal movement that we're at right now, the integration of the feminine. What does that mean? Whether you're a man or a woman, embodying that ability to receive yourself, to accept, to nurture yourself through all changes that are happening in a positive manner. This is why COVID happened. This is why ETs are happening. This is why all of these movements in the world are happening. This is why all the darkest agendas of the world are coming up to surface right now. This is the feminine expressing itself in order to create a nurturing balance. So we learn from that and we embody that in our physical body.
All right, let's get to Solar Warden's question. What is your opinion on Ingo Swann and remote viewing? By the way, props to your response for Magellan's.
Hey, thank you so much, Solar Warden. I am very sorry. Again, I don't know who Ingo Swann is. Um, and mind you, I'm in the process of writing my books for the past 3 years. And during this process, I'm not reading or researching other people's information. But I do know about remote viewing because I have been used for remote viewing as a child through draconian and reptilian programs. And I've also done remote viewing later on, more recently. So remote viewing is something that everybody can do. And this is just one superpower, as you can call it, or ability that we humans have in order to connect with the whole. The more we connect with our intuition, the more we have the ability to interconnect with one another, to see what's happening in the world around us. It is just another way to strengthen our understanding that we are one. And it's important to practice remote viewing because this is the technology that we want to move towards. Instead of being codependent of the technology that is being served by the system, we have to activate this technology, which is the technology of the future. Remote viewing is our future. That's us. And it's the organic biotechnology within the body.
All right. Nikki is asking, as we've got about 4.5 minutes left here before we go for our final break with you tonight. Geraldine, have you had experience with the shape-shifting feline Lyrans and the feline Laborians?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I definitely have had experience with many Lyrans, shapeshifters all the time, many different kinds of shapeshifters. And they are a very interesting race. The Lyran is a very strong lineage that goes down my maternal line. And there's a long, long history of Lyrans going all the way back to Anunnaki bloodlines for us. But the idea of these shapeshifters is the idea that basically they're not necessarily only Lyran, right? That means that they are multiple different DNAs in order to allow them to have the ability to tap into all of those different races and embody that image in a shape-shifting form. So, yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Let's get to Nicola's question here. Is an interdimensional being the same as an extraterrestrial being?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The answer is yes to that. As soon as you leave the confines of the planet Earth and the physics, the laws of physics as we know them, that abide by gravity and everything else that is part of this physical terrestrial plane, you begin to enter other realms. And of course, our science and our physics is just beginning to understand what dark matter is and how it operates and the laws of how the movement and exchange of those energies are moving. Black holes and white holes, but ultimately what we are is a collection of black and white holes. That's what we are. That's what humans are. That's what the planets are. That's what these different celestial bodies are moving through. This is how we bilocate, how we move, and how these extraterrestrial beings are traveling in space is through these wormholes that are created through different dimensional time spaces. So interdimensional would be, in my opinion, the accurate word how to describe an extraterrestrial being, because in order for them to even be able to access the planet Earth based on our limited understanding of how physics operate, you need to implement the interdimensional aspect, which means that they abide by different laws and we connect with them through these portals that are created in order for us to connect with those dimensional planes, which is why so many experiencers have activated psychic abilities. So many different incredible things become different in a human organism as a result of contact, down to our, DNA. It becomes activated through this contact.
All right. Abe is asking, can you elaborate on the contract you have mentioned between us and the alien beings? We have 90 seconds.
So a contract is an experiential agreement, nothing more. What we are as infinite consciousness is experiential beings. We're here to experience everything. We make experiential agreements with the families we're born into, with the planet we're living on, and with all other expressions of experiential beings that we interact with. Everyone is having an experience. The ET, you're having an experience. So when you connect with these interdimensional or ET beings, you have an agreement to experience a shared vibrational frequency, which is expressed through some kind of activity. So that's what it is. You can either agree to something when you're conscious, and when you're unconscious, you can also agree to things that aren't necessarily in your benefit because of your unconscious awareness of what you're agreeing to. Your understanding of who you are in the bigger picture plays a role in the kind of contracts that you're signing. That's why, in my opinion, the most important thing to do right now is to understand the self and how we make these agreements through the laws of creation in the universe.
Makes a lot of sense. We have Geraldine Orozco for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio tonight. We're going to continue with audience questions because we are loving the participation that they are giving us tonight. And Geraldine, I know, is very appreciative to be very interactive with all of you. So let's make sure we continue that going on into hour number 3, where we have Geraldine for another 30 minutes. Then when we get to the bottom of the hour, we're going to bring out the Magic 8 Ball. It is that time of the week again, where we're going to warm up the 8 Ball, ask your questions, and see if we can get some predictions made. Spaced Out Radio continues with hour 3 and Geraldine Orozco next. All right, we're clear.
Awesome. I'm going to be right back.
Me too. I'll just put the screen on me, and we'll be right back. Right after these messages. All right, we'll be back. We'll be back. All right. I am back. Hi, Applesauce. Bobby Chizzy, how you doing? Do, 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 do. All right. All right, we got about a minute. Thank you to VPXM and Brian for the amazing super chats tonight. We really do appreciate the love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Thank you to all our new subs that we've had recently and those who have tuned in tonight. We greatly appreciate your support. And let's see. Thank you to all our veterans out there as well as we get ready to come back from this long weekend. And Geraldine, I'll get you to unmute your microphone if you don't mind. And that would be wonderful. And yes, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy.
That's good. I'm so happy. Are you feeling okay?
My anxiety is coming down.
Nice. Love that.
Here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate you tuning on in, especially those listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Talaric. Talaric is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we say hello, how are you, to Geraldine Orozco. She comes in at the beginning of each month for the Spiritual You. And tonight we've kind of been focusing on extraterrestrials and everything along those lines tonight. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. Geraldine, welcome back.
Hi, thank you so much again.
You're welcome. We're lucky to have you here. We really are.
Thanks, Dave. Such a pleasure.
All right, Alien Probe Master lubed up this question by saying, are you saying that aliens are different from ghosts or other stuff because they are from another dimension?
That is an amazing question. So the correct answer to that is I don't know, because our understanding of dimensions is very, very limited, is just from our understanding of our own physics, unfortunately, and that will limit our understanding of how we can connect to them. However, what I have learned as a psychic, a medium, and when I can see interdimensional beings, of course, um, is the only thing that makes them different is this vibrational expression. However, what are ghosts? Ghosts are a fragment of a human body, from a human that has been trapped in between dimensional planes, the physical and the higher dimension is usually the eighth, seventh, eighth, ninth dimensional plane. They're in between there. And so these beings that haven't fully processed get stuck in between dimensional planes because they die with a tremendous amount of fear. They haven't fully integrated their life force energy in the body in order to be able to enter and be a match for that tunnel of white light, or basically it's like a wormhole, it's like a vortex of light that allows that energy to create this extraction of the soul from the physical body correctly into that white light. So because of fear, because of a death that wasn't there really is such thing as a good death, as a proper death. When you have a proper death, you're able to move out of detaching from the body physically. If you die in a tremendous state of fear, oftentimes they get trapped, attached to things and people in this dimensional plane, and they begin to ghost and haunt haunt places, for example. So that is very different than an ET interdimensional from that perspective. They navigate similar realms, similar planes. It's the non-physical realm. And what dimensions they are interacting with will depend on the dimensional planes that that individual entity has developed themselves to have access to. And you will have access to that information depending on how you have activated your intuition in order to connect with those aspects. What I find is that some people that only work in mediumship, for example, they don't want to connect to anything other than that dimensional plane. They do have to sustain a certain vibrational frequency in order to tune in to that. It's like a radio dial. You're tuning into the channel in which these beings are in this dimensional plane. Other beings that are from other, they want to connect with other dimensional planes, have to tune themselves to that as well. So I think it's part of our evolutionary process, and I believe that any person has access to all of these dimensional planes at any time.
All right, let's move on to another question here. This one comes from Will. He wants to know about the alien reptilian agenda and why they hate humans with a passion.
That's a very good question. However, I'd like to introduce the idea that reptilians are what we perceive. And depending on our vibrational frequency, sometimes people have very positive experiences with reptilians. They have incredibly beautiful experiences with them. So there are ranges, because we live in duality, of everything, white and dark, good and bad, positive and negative, in all races. Okay, the reptilian race, for the most part, is very much accessing specific traits that are more primal in a sense. They manage that primal energy, primal traits. We have that reptilian aspect in ourselves as well. Okay, so keep that in mind. Again, everything is united, everything is one. So it's not so much that it's a specific reptilian agenda. I think that when you get to the higher levels of these manifestations, for example, the draconians, I believe the draconians actually tend to have a little bit more of a specific agenda in which the exchange is not always as balanced. It is more parasitic in that the agendas that they have with the government, the agendas that they have with other species are not always exchanged in a proper way. So I think it's more the draconians that I would like to put attention to, that maybe play out those kind of unconscious roles. Not so much the reptilians. The reptilians, again, are descendants as much as we are descendants of the draconians. So it's an evolutionary process. There is no good or bad at the end of all of this.
Makes sense. Okay, let's move on here. As Alexander is asking, can the human body activate the biomechanics and travel through dimensions without our carbon body?
No. You need the body. You need the body in order to create a vessel for the transmutation, in order for fusion to occur within the body. The fusion occurs through contrast. The fusion occurs through the contrast of whatever negative is occurring, any emotions that are created in the body. As alchemist, as master of this physical body, you change that. And the body is needed for that. And you need the physical plane. You need this human experience in the three-dimensional plane. You can't, again, be separate from the three-dimensional plane from the whole. It is a range of everything. We are all of those things at the same time. We are in the third and we are in the 12th, 13th, whatever dimensions there may exist. We are in all of them simultaneously. So this is very much important element to our evolutionary process, and it begins here. Remember that if you don't activate and cultivate this physical body, you're never going to get to the other ones. Your awareness will never be able to move and travel in those other ones as consciousness, and you will continue to embody this physical plane for a long extended amount of time, repeating patterns of experiences over and over again. So that's something that you have an option with your free will to choose not to do and to try to experience something else.
Very cool. How come you need the carbon body? Why can't you go on a soul level?
Oh, no, you absolutely can. Absolutely. But some people think that, the human body might get in the way or it's not necessary, but it's definitely necessary. You can't access the soul level if you haven't accessed the physical body. You need to go through the physical body in order to access the soul. So the higher dimensional planes are the beginning at the heart. The heart center is the gateway into the higher dimensions. Heart, throat, third eye, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13, right? All the upper layers. So those higher dimensional planes cannot be accessed if you are still down here in the lower layers and they are completely out of balance, and that's your only perception. You have to master all of them to be able to navigate all the dimensional planes. That's the idea. That's how you access it. This is just the way that our organism is created, and it's also our awareness is activated through the awareness of each dimensional plane. The more we cultivate that awareness and working on those planes, the more we can heal the body.
Okay. Let's move on here because I know we have a few more questions from our audience coming up here. And while we're waiting on that, because I'm scrolling here and the chat room is moving so fast for you tonight. It's unbelievable. Let's get back to ETs for a second. In your contact with your beings, I don't know what we could call beings, extraterrestrials, entities, whatever, have they given you a timeline of what's supposed to happen?
It's not so much that those beings have provided me the information, but in 2017, I saw that a massive red cloud of fear was coming over this sector of the universe. And I saw that what will cause suffering is the weaponization of fear within the human body at that time. And it had to do with viruses. So I also saw that moving towards the organic will be the saving grace for the human race. Pulling away from artificial technology, pulling away from mechanical expressions of the human was what will help the human race. along with other things that I do continue to see. I mean, I've also seen that UFOs would appear, like legions of UFOs descended down. And there was a point where, the question was, oh, maybe I should have listened to that. Maybe I should have relocated to this other location where this wasn't going to happen. And I think it was the idea that disclosure would come, but not in the way that we would expect it to be. So I think that we're here at that point now, and I guess we'll wait to see how it happens.
All right, let's get to Jay's question. Do you feel that the short grays are soulless android-type beings?
Well, our understanding of a soul is different. A soul, there are many different kinds of expressions of souls from the perspective that it's life force, okay? So whoever is aware of their life force energy has mastery, has free will and control over the vessel. Whatever doesn't have awareness and mastery over that life force often becomes a host and ultimately becomes mechanical and artificial. So that's the only difference between artificial intelligence and consciousness. One is aware of it. That's it. So these grays are designed in a sense to embody that. And so whatever aspect of soul is embodied in that gray will be mechanical. It'll be artificial. So it basically they use them to program them to carry out things, to be assistants, to work in many different agendas, doing small things or very mechanical type things. And it isn't until you get to the taller grays or other intelligence levels that they are more aware of that level of consciousness. They're more engaged in complex agendas and exchanges of information with humans and other races as well.
Makes sense. All right, let's move on. I love this question from Oumuamua. If someone is taking anxiety meds, will that block their abilities?
Mm-hmm. So this is a very sensitive topic, and I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to give any kind of medical advice on this topic. I think that you need to confide in your doctor to understand what meds you need to take, if you need to take them. There are many ways to handle. One thing that I will say as a healer or somebody that provides service for those that are looking to heal themselves is an understanding that we do have the ability to heal ourselves, whatever it is that we have, whatever ailment it is. We have the ability to provide a balanced state without being dependent on meds. That being said, that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of discipline and activation of ourselves, of the body, before getting off those medications. Sometimes people experience very extremely, even life-threatening, things that occur as a result of being off meds, because the meds are designed to make you codependent to them. So it's very important that if you would like to get off meds, that you work with the doctor and little by little practice your meditation and becoming aware of the physical body and working with the physical body first. What does that mean? That means in your meditation, start working on your emotions. The emotions are the gateway to managing the physical dimensional plane in order for you to begin to activate your intuition. You can't get to the intuitive level of the body if you are having anxieties and these imbalanced aspects in the lower body. Those that are born with psychic abilities sometimes have the access to that information already, and then they have to learn in this lifetime how to manage both of them. The idea is that we learn to control the emotions. And when you control the emotions, they will not interfere also in skewing the messages that are coming through the intuitive engine. Because the intuitive instrument is very fine-tuned through discipline and practice. And oftentimes emotions can skew the information we receive. So the best place to be is to train ourselves to be in a state of neutrality. So work on training yourself to be in a state of neutrality, which means that you're integrating all of the parts of us that want to compartmentalize, to judge, to define or put meaning to things without necessarily looking at all possible aspects. When you begin to look at things from that perspective, it neutralizes what you're experiencing. And that's how you can learn to control the emotions. So that's the first step. And yes, you can activate your abilities. Absolutely. It doesn't matter what state you're in, but it does take a lot of work. So please work with a doctor if you want to do that, and reach out if you need assistance with the other.
I would say, from someone who suffers from depression and anxiety, I haven't dealt with it much on the anxiety meds, but on the depression meds that I used to be on, I noticed that my contact dried right up. I was just in a perpetual state of being in the zone and being calm and relaxed, and I couldn't really tap into myself. So
Yeah.
more so the depression meds than the anxiety meds, I would say, would make the difference there. That's just from my personal opinion. Once again, not a medical practitioner or a pharmacist. All right, let's move on here. Jake is asking, do reptilians have a... yeah, I'm not asking that. Sorry, Jake. Not the right question to be asking here on Spaced Out Radio. Remember, please, our questions do go on terrestrial radio, and we are live. See, I caught myself there, Geraldine. I caught it. All right. Let me get Kevin's question here. Are you receiving an overall negative vibration from the government disclosure or confirmation report process and key players? He says, I am getting bad vibes, impressions of deceitfulness and trickery.
The answer to that, I believe, is in looking at historically the record that the government has had around these topics. I know that we're in for a change. I know that it's time for a change, but I don't necessarily believe that they would come out and change the habits that they've done around these topics historically. I do believe that there's always a hidden reason for putting out these kinds of informations. And the idea is to always just observe and watch. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I just feel that there is manipulation that is being utilized as this is coming out. And so the idea is that hopefully as we receive the information, we're able to accept whatever comes and understand that that is not the defining anything. There will always be, when we look at things, sometimes it'll be said a certain way, but they mean something else. So always be open and trust your intuition because it's usually right.
All right. That sounds good. The Space Cat Cow, or Space Cat Crow, what are your thoughts on life on Mars?
Yes. In fact, I think all the planets have life. I think that, they're operating on different dimensional planes, and Mars is definitely a planet that is inhabited by certain beings in which things are being carried out. I know this from a personal experience, and I also know this from many experiencers that have experienced, going to Mars and having different kinds of experiences like training for things on Mars. I mean, Mars, every single planet has a certain specific vibrational frequency, which means that specific things are carried out, just like the Earth is carried out in a certain way. We're experiencing duality. All living beings are experiencing that same thing. Mars has another specific energy in which certain things are carried out in that. And it is very much this energy of military, government, these kinds of things. So a lot of that is carried out on Mars, and there are many different agendas and different races that participate in carrying these kinds of military-esque programs on Mars.
Have you been there?
I've not been there in the physical, but I have had an experience through a draconian craft that was shown to me what was occurring there, and that was it. Yeah.
45 seconds, my beautiful friend. Tell everybody where they can find your information and get a hold of you.
Gosh, tonight went so fast. Please, if you'd like to get a DNA reprogramming with me, if you'd like to get a hypnotherapy, please reach out at GeraldineOrozco.com. I'll be speaking at Camp Disclosure. I will be speaking at Higher Self Expo and also at my own conference at the Wisdom Com coming up in September. So please check out my website to learn more about the dates, times, locations, where to sign up for that. And do check out opusnetwork.com to learn more about finding support on contact as well. So thank you so much for having me, as always, Dave.
We love it when you're here, and we will talk to you at the beginning of next month. Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You is a very, very prime show of what we do once a month here on the Mighty SOR. We love it when Geraldine comes on in and literally spiritually slaps us across the head and says, "Wake up, people. Wake up." Geraldine's website, GeraldineOrozco.com. Much love to her. Coming up next, I'm warming up the Magic 8 Ball. Let's see what predictions we can make coming up next. Beautiful show.
Davey, thank you so much. Such a wonderful, fun time. Thank you guys for your beautiful questions. Love you all so much. And I will see you soon.
Yes, you and I have to talk website soon.
Yes, my love, we will.
Thursday? Or can I call you Thursday?
Please call me Thursday evening. After 6, I have some time. Yeah?
Okay.
We'll finish it then.
Mwah.
Okay?
Much love.
Much love. See you soon.
Take care, beautiful.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Love her. Love her. She's amazing. Dirty Filth, what's going on? I love the fact that you guys love her back. Thank you for that. Michael Lastuca, what's happening, buddy? Somehow you ended up on the block list last night. Oh my God, that was nuts. That was absolutely nuts. All right. Okay, that's where it's showing all that timed out stuff. Okay. Let's see here. So how do I... I'm just learning this Nightbot thing. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, there we go. We good now. We good now. Yeah, I gotta trim the beard again. Hello, gorgeous Teresa. Hi, stunning Becky Anglin. How are you? Good night, gorgeous Kira. Thanks, Aussie Steve. We didn't do too bad last night, Duke. We honestly didn't do too bad last night. Vinster. What's happening, Vinster? It's probably true, Fap. Zed and Crypto, how you doing? Thank you so much, man. I hate the fact that I'm getting hungry at this time of night. Don't want to eat. Trying to lose weight. Nick, go to... Thank you, Linda Bennett. All right. We got like 30 seconds here. Start typing your questions. Yes, no type questions in capital letters. Keep them clean because I do have terrestrial radio to worry about. And we're going to warm up the Magic 8 Ball right now. Oh, cheese-filled Smokies. I had that the other night for dinner. Oh my God, those are awesome. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Let's get your questions ready. It's Magic 8 Ball time. All right, Magic 8 Ball time, where we take questions from our audience and we ask the Magic 8 Ball if they could give us some proper and decisive opinions as to what's going on. Can it predict the future? We don't really know, but why test our limits and our luck? We're going to start off with Paul Holland in Australia. Yes, Holland in Australia. Will Klaatu and Gort visit the United Nations? Will Klaatu and Gort visit the United Nations? Let's see the magic answer. Sensors read no, Paul. Sensors read no. Magic 8 Ball's on a serious note already tonight. Don't want any Klaatu and Gort here. All right. Vinny is asking, is FAP cooler than Vinny? Is FAP cooler than Vinny? Let's see what the Magic 8 Ball has to say. Not today, Sheriff. Not today. Vinny, you are cooler than FAP today. Today only. Just today. All right. Brian Smith is asking, Magic 8 Ball, do you believe that the UAP Task Force report will reveal new video or radar evidence? The answer from the Magic 8 Ball is Intel looks good. Notice it used that Intel word. Oh, the Magic 8 Ball, I think, is 3 for 3 tonight. We are going to get some interesting stuff tonight, or coming up. I really do believe. All right. Let's go to this one here. Polar eclipse. If I was a carpenter, would you still nail me? Who? The Magic 8 Ball? Magic 8 Ball says, as I see it, Yes, the magic 8-ball would still nail you if you were a carpenter. We'll leave it at that. Thank you. All right, race fan. Will Dave buy a new Polaris Razor? I'm an Arctic Cat kind of guy. But the Razors are nice, especially the 1000. All right. Reply hazy, try again. Probably because my Arctic Cat behind that wall is listening and doesn't want to hurt its feelings. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Randy, will my fire lawsuit be worth as much as I'm hoping? Randy Spurl, battery's low. Wouldn't count on it. Wouldn't count on it. All right. All right, let's go to Aussie Steve Spaghetti Jet. Will Elon Musk encounter aliens on Mars? Battery low. Really? You went 3 for 3 and now we're going to play the battery low game? Come on, Magic 8-Ball. You can't be out of juice already. Give us an answer here. You got to work for a living. You just don't get a free spot on my desk for nothing here. There we go. Infinitely yes. Elon Musk and SpaceX will encounter aliens on Mars. Triple Tom. Hi, Dave Scott. Will UFOs rise out of the water? Let's go here, and it is infinitely yes. Yes, we will get aliens coming out of the water. All right. Let's see here. Sandra, will she win the $70 million lottery on Friday? Sandra, I'm trying here too. Want to go halfers? Sandra? Sandra, your chances of winning, it is decidedly so. You are going to be $70 million richer from the lottery on Friday. $70 million. Just don't forget about Davey here, okay? Don't forget about Davey. All right, let's go to Vinny. And that is, will Geraldine marry me if I ask? Don't count on it. Seriously, that's what it says. I don't know if you could read that or not, but it says, don't count on it, Vin. There you go. There's a clear photo of it. All right. Sorry, Vin. Becky, the lovely and talented Becky Anglin. Dave asked the 8-Ball if the June UAP report will be worth the wait. And reply hazy. Try again. All right, we're going to try again. Come on, Magic 8-Ball. We need to know about these aliens coming up here. Or pardon me, UAP. Ask again later, Becky. It's still hazy on what's coming out. I think that's a pretty accurate answer, and I'll tell you why. It's accurate because there's still the faction out there that is trying to delay the report. Yes. Got to delay the report. Lou Elizondo thinks it could be delayed. He'd like to see it delayed. However, we don't know. If it goes through, we'll see what happens. So I agree with the Magic 8-Ball. I would say that's an accurate answer. All right, Conflict Radio Official is asking, is the moon a spaceship that has been left here? Weird. Gives me a shape. All systems go. The moon's a spaceship. Yep. All right. Nicola, is Elon Musk an alien? Well, he is Canadian. He is American. He is South African. But is he an alien? Levels are positive. Levels are positive. Good. All right. Now, PBR is questioning the validity of my 8-Ball because It is a Buzz Lightyear 8-ball and not a blacked out Magic 8-ball. I was told that this works too. So, all right. Vinny is asking, will Sandra marry me after winning the lottery? Let's go like this. You may rely on it. However, I don't think that that's going to work. I just don't. Oumuamua is asking, is my dog an alien? Is Oumuamua's dog an alien? Somehow I don't think so, but... Oh, I could be wrong. Signs point to yes. Yes, Oumuamua, your dog is an alien. Itzy Zaza is asking, will any government officials or public figures come out as aliens? Reply Hazy, try again. That one I think is an accurate answer, and I'll tell you why. I think it's accurate because right now we don't know. Still a lot of secrets around aliens, okay? And that's the way it goes. We're still covering up the alien thing. Let us get used to the aircraft first. All right. Fap is asking, will Geraldine marry me and send pics to Vinny of our honeymoon to make him mad? Oh, my. Magic 8-Ball says, I'm in hypersleep. I'm not putting up with this stuff. Oh, Magic 8-Ball. Didn't like that question, Fap. All right. Ivy Smith is asking the Magic 8-Ball, are the Tic Tacs piloted by aliens? Good question, Ivy. Good question. Magic 8-Ball says, my sources say no. That would mean that they are likely drones of an alien kind. Drones of an alien kind. We got time for a couple more questions here. All right, Space Cat Crow is asking, is Luis Elizondo being truthful? The answer is all clear, as in yes. Yes, he is. I think he's being as truthful as he can be outside of his NDAs. Other shows are ripping on him. I don't think he deserves it. Now, I've changed my tune on him, but I think he's getting out as much information as we could possibly get right now. All right. Duke from World Bigfoot Radio, you need to subscribe to that channel. Is anyone on my team for next month a spy? Ooh. Reply Hazy, try again, Duke. I would say no. That's the feeling I get. No. Randy is asking, will Dave find a better Bigfoot gifting spot? I hope so. I really hope so. And the answer is... Oh, there's bubbly in there. Hold on. It's hazy. Trying here, people. My sources say no. My sources say no. No, we will not get another piece of the puzzle there. No, just won't. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. Let's get to the news here. Or that's Magic 8-Ball. Thought of the Dave coming up. Here's the news. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire, the back end of every show where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the idiotic Yeah, I'm going to call this one idiotic. Footage showing a man bravely facing shark-infested waters to save a small injured bird from the sea predators has gone viral and touched viewers across the world. A bold crew member who was working aboard a luxury yacht in the Maldives realized the small bird was in distress and braved the sharks and the intense ocean currents to get the animal back on land. The video, taken by Jalil Nayafov, a local filmmaker and conservationist, captured the crew member returning to his boat after successfully saving the Australian zebra finch. Holding the bird high in the air in his right hand, he swims back to the yacht with his other free hand as 2 6-foot sharks are seen circling the clear water. The man safely makes it back to the boat, but hands off the frightened bird to a man on board before climbing the ladder to get out of the shark's line of vision. The video ends with a close-up of the zebra finch, and which looks around but appears to be unharmed by any of the sharks. Still dumb. Don't need to be jumping into the water when there's sharks around, especially for a little bird. At least that's my opinion. And either way, this guy's getting the "oh, how cute, thank you for saving the birds, you're so brave, congratulations." Yeah, that took balls and stupidity. Let's just be honest. Moving on here. Well, this one's a close one. Earthlings often get nervous about asteroids careening towards the planet. Such is the case this week as headlines trumpet the danger of a potentially hazardous asteroid the size of the Space Needle in Seattle, along with 4 other space rocks. Fortunately for the worrywarts out there, and unfortunately for the nihilists around the world, the latest crop of near-Earth objects are not a threat to ending life as we know it on this planet. The next 5 asteroid appearances, noted on NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory website, include rocks ranging from the size of a small house to that of London St. Paul Cathedral, but their approaches are near or on an entirely different scale than one might think or be familiar with. The biggest asteroid, known as 2021 KT1, is expected to pass within 4.6 million miles, just missing us, of Earth, posing no risk whatsoever. For comparison, the moon is about 239,000 miles away. Let us continue. Beware the 9th hole at this golf course in Georgia. A southern Georgia man found out the hard way recently when he was making a putt on the local golf course's 9th hole when he was attacked by a massive swan from behind. Yeah, this thing tried to go all iron chic on him. Didn't seem to work. There's an entire video of the incident posted on Instagram. Right after John Walters sank the putt, the animal started biting at his backside and his legs. Walters yelling, "Ow, ow, hey, I made the putt, damn it." But the bird wasn't satisfied with him making the putt and started chasing him around the green. And, his friend, instead of helping old John, decided that he would pull out the old cell phone, film it, and laugh his butt off while his buddy is trying to get away from the swan. Swans are big. They are very big. They got them long necks, too. Walter's daughter says that the swan reportedly lives nearby in a pond and is known for being aggressively possessive. No kidding. Scary incident up on the International Space Station. A robotic arm located outside the ISS was officially hit by an orbital debris, but it's still functional. The impact on the Canadarm2, first noticed by NASA and the Canadian Space Agency during a routine inspection on May 12th, punched a hole in the arm boom and its thermal blanket. Despite the impact, results of the ongoing analysis indicate that the arm's performance remains unaffected. While the exact object responsible for this damage is unknown, it's them space elves. That's what it is, space elves. The space station is at risk of impact from objects too small to be tracked as it orbits Earth from 220 nautical miles away. These tiny little objects could be pieces of rock, micrometeorites, dust particles, or even flecks of paint that chip off the satellites. About 23,000 objects about the size of a softball or larger are constantly tracked by space agencies to ensure they don't collide with satellites or the space station. Protecting the astronauts living on the space station is crucial. NASA has a long-standing set of guidelines to ensure the safety of the station crew. According to the release, the safety of astronauts on board the orbiting laboratory remains the top priority of all station partners. The robotic arm is continuing to carry out planned operations as the analysis continues. Orbital debris is also tracked to make sure there is no threat to spacecraft coming and going from the station. That's still scary. All right, continuing on. A futuristic house in Houston, Texas, that looks like the supervillain's lair is up for sale at $4.3 million. The property has been nicknamed the Darth Vader home because of its resemblance to the Star Wars icon's mask. It's actually very cool. Yeah, the home was built for a surgeon. It's around 7,040 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. This is according to Realtor.com. Is the house wearing sunglasses? Asked someone on social media. Another asked if it was fit for Superman's adversary, Lex Luthor. It was built in 1992, nearly half an acre of land. The listing describes the property as a museum home setting. The listing also says this contemporary masterpiece is not one to miss and correctly states there was nothing else like it in the area. Oh, I'd buy that house. I like weird houses like that. I really do. Let's get to the thought of the day, shall we? Thought of the Knave happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Knave is as follows. When do you think the aliens will be brought into the UFO conversation publicly? Let's start with Mark in Australia. When we drag them by the hair kicking and screaming across the line. Stetson John. Not sure what year, but I bet you anything it's around Thanksgiving with all the new Peanuts special. Okay. Gary Voorhees. He was on the Nimitz. Woo, a beaded wonder. We just got the government to admit about UAP. Don't get greedy now, Dave. All right, Gary. We'll see you in a couple of weeks when you're on the show. Paul, once UFOs are admitted to be off-world, the agenda will move to show us the bodies, habeas corpus, unless our overlord archons decide to show themselves. God of Thunder, otherwise known as Canadian Joe around these parts, if aliens do in fact exist, if and when they decide it's time to disclose their existence. Let's go to Craig. October. Joseph, otherwise known as Jurassic Joey, 1 to 3 years, depending on what is said in June. Nick, never, because they will never tell us the truth about UFOs. All fake news. Oh, that's not very positive. Let's see. Let's go to Joshua. Probably not long after the June 25th report. Michael, there won't be any talk about aliens until the public accepts what is told to them after disclosure. After all, there is only so much the public can handle at one time. Vincent, disclosure is going to be a letdown. David, now we have been shouting out. Joe, when the aliens get a Facebook account. Chris, aliens? No. The others? Yes. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We will do it all again tomorrow because that's what we do right here, right now on the mighty SOR. And thank you to Captain Shirk for the abbreviated SOR Newswire. Everybody playing along with the Magic 8 Ball. And of course to Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. We've got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody in our chat rooms tonight on Twitch, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.